Alright, welcome to story time. Alright, today's story is called The Milk Mishap. Now, I have to set the scene. This was when I was in high school. I was probably about 17 or so. Now, if you've ever been in high school, they have what they call office aides or office runners. Now, what this means is that they select a few students per period, per class, that will run notes, will help to coordinate things. So my main job, I sat in the office with two other people for this particular class period. Anytime somebody would call in to have their kid taken out of class or needed a note delivered or something like that, or had to go tell a teacher something, our point was we would take that note and we would deliver it. If this sounds like an easy cake class, it's because it was. I sat there and would do my studying or do my homework from other classes and just wait for one of the secretaries to hand me a note and say, hey, here, go here. I had to know where every classroom was, but not that hard when classrooms have numbers, and they tell you. So, this was an easy job to do, normally. Now, I had this class with two other girls. They were both office runners as well. Now, what happened in this particular day? I was wearing a gray shirt and jeans, blue jeans. Why does this matter? Wait for it. So, I am at lunch, chilling with my friends, talking, having a good time. Now, our vending machines, this was a long time ago, our vending machines, we had one entire vending machine from Winder Dairy. Now, as weird as that might sound, it was the case. It was an entire vending machine filled with milk, obviously. Now, to explain why this matters, they had multiple varieties of milk. They had normal milk, they had skim milk, they had whole milk, they had 2% milk, and a lot of the same stuff that you normally find. They also had strawberry milk, they had chocolate milk, like you would think. They also started having some other really weird flavors. They had banana milk. Now, strawberry milk sounds fine because everyone carries strawberry milk. But banana milk? That's weird. Not as weird as root beer milk. Now, as many of you just went, oh, why would you have some root beer milk? That sounds like a terrible mixture. Now, I will admit, all of these didn't taste too bad. And yes, I had tried them all. And there were probably a couple of others that I tried as well. They weren't bad. Looking back on it, they probably were not wonderful, but whatever. Chocolate milk is still better. But they had a root beer milk, and I had had this once or twice because it was okay. It was a weird combination, but it still worked. I mean, it sold. Now, I'm sitting with my friends. One of my friends went to go and get a milk or to get something from the vending machines. We're just waiting and chilling, and we have maybe about 5 minutes left of lunchtime. Just then, the friend walks back in and she has 2 milks. And she comes directly up to me and said, do you want this? And holds it out to me. And I look and I said, why do you have 2? And she said, it gave me the wrong one. The vending machine gave me the wrong one. It gave me a root beer milk, and I'm not drinking that. That's disgusting sounding. So I had to buy another one. But I know that you've had them before. Do you want this one? Now, teenage mind went, hey, free drink. Awesome. So I said, yeah, sure. To which everybody else at the table went, ew, root beer milk? And I said, hey, it's free and it's not terrible. Now, from a lot of other drinks, as you may know, a lot of drinks that are not carbonated, you shake them. So you gotta shake the drink, whatever, to move the sediment stuff around at the bottom. Do you have to do this with milk? No. But it was still one of my things that I did. So I took the milk, and I immediately went to go try to shake it. The moment I did this, milk everywhere. I was not aware that the cap was already pretty much taken off. So I had milk go all over the table. Thankfully, it did not go all over me or anybody else. But what happened is it went on the table, went on the floor, and it hit me. Now, it got me from here to about here. So now I have root beer milk all down my shirt and across that area of my pants. Now, we had maybe about a few minutes left of lunch. The person who gave me the milk offered to take me home and have me change. And I said, no, I have other classes I have to get to. And they said, okay. And I said, well, maybe I can just go to my locker in gym class, because in gym class, you have to have your gym change your clothes. And I said, no, granted, they don't smell wonderful, but I have a shirt to change out. And my friend looked at me and she said, do you have a separate pair of pants in there too? And I said, no, I've got gym shorts. And there's no way I'm wearing the gym shorts everywhere else in school because those things are short and that's awkward. And she said, don't change the shirt without changing the pants. And I got confused because my brain was not thinking about this. I said, why not? And she said, because it will look like you peed yourself. And as I looked down, I realized, yeah, she's right, because this is not like water where it's going to dry nicely. This is, now when I say root beer milk, it is because it is a slightly brownish milk. So I realized what she was getting at. I didn't want it to look like I had just peed my pants, and that was it. So I said, you know what, fine, I'll just leave them both together. That way people will know that something happened. But I can't go home right now. So I went to the bathroom and tried to dry myself off. Now, here is the problem. Root beer milk, or maybe it's other milks as well, don't just dry normally. Root beer milk looks dark yellow or light brown. So, yeah, it looked like I'd had a serious bathroom issue all over myself. So I couldn't just say, oh, water spilled and it'll dry up. It was dry and it still looked bad. So, the problem that I then had, this easy cakewalk class office aid where I just take notes that normally is so easy and basic, is no longer as easy and basic as I want it to be. So I get to the next class, the office aid. So I walk into the office and I immediately walk back. Now, all the way down this hall, I had flipped my backpack around, which wasn't too odd. I don't know if people in high school still do this, but we'd gotten used to some of the time, if you really felt like it, you could just flip the backpack around. So I flipped it around, hoping that it would obstruct enough of right here that it wouldn't matter. It kind of worked. I mean, nobody really cared. So I get to the office. Now, the office aide sits behind the official secretary. So the secretaries are right here, and the office aides sit right behind them. So in my perspective, when I got in there, I had the doors, the secretaries in their cubicle, and then we had a wall separating us from them. So I was sitting behind a desk. I didn't want to get up and move at all. Here was the other hard part. Being a very physically active person, I loved back then running everywhere, jogging everywhere. I loved seeing how fast I could get something done, like an errand, and then get back. So I was kind of the go-to. Most of the time, the secretaries would hand a note, and I would volunteer immediately if I was there to take it, and the two girls got to sit there, doodle, do their homework, whatever. So I was the go-to note person. And after a while, this made the two girls not want to do the job as much, so they just relied on me always taking it. So I'm there, hoping that all day long, these two will be taking the notes. About 10 minutes in, the secretary gets a call, hands me a note. I have to go hand a teacher a note to tell them about something with a student. And I looked and said, well, can they take it? And they both looked at me and went, well, why can't you? You love this. They need it quickly. We know you'll be way faster than we will be. Because the two girls had made a habit of taking their sweet time, walking through the halls, getting the note delivered, and then slowly coming back. So for a note that would take them 10 minutes to deliver, it would take me all of 5 minutes, if that. I was running, jogging, whatever else, and they were taking their sweet time. So the office lady also looked at me and said, well, no, we need this note done really quickly because the parents are coming here. I said, fine. And I didn't want to say, because I thought it was going to be embarrassing, but I've got this huge stain that makes it look like I peed myself, or something like that. So I take the note, and I decide, you know what, I'm just going to do this as quickly as I can. So I run to the class, I get to the doorway and I think, how am I going to deliver this note? And I'm really hoping right now that the classroom desks are faced away from the door. Not my luck. So this is what ended up happening. Let's say that you're the students, here's the door, and the teacher is up at the board, unfortunately. So this is what I tried to do. I tried to come into class and just slowly walk over, because this isn't awkward at all. I tried to slowly just walk over. I handed the teacher the note and said, there you go. This person's needed. And then I walked back out. And then ran back to the office. Now, as awkward as that may seem, and people might go, well, that was weird. Obviously, he's trying to hide something. I didn't care. I just didn't want all this to be shown off when it's covered in yellowish brown, whatever. So, I did not like that job that day. Thank goodness all the other notes I had, because when I walked back in, the secretary looked up and said, what happened to your shirt and pants? And I told her, and she said, okay, we'll try to see what we can do then. So they only gave me the notes where maybe it was to the library or something else where, it wasn't a huge deal and nobody would be around. Now I keep a spare set of clothes. They're in the trunk of my car. Regardless of that, I always had, and did back then, right after this, I always had a spare set of jeans and a t-shirt. And possibly underwear. I always wanted to make sure that I had that immediate change of clothes if I needed it. And I have been asked multiple times, whether somebody is looking in my trunk, whether I'm at work and it's under a desk or something, I've been asked, why do you have a spare set of clothing? And every time my answer is, do you know what it looks like when you have dried root beer milk on your pants? That's why. And then I usually have to explain the story. So, moral of the story on that one, either be really careful shaking your drinks, or keep a spare set of clothing on you, which is never a bad thing because you never know when your clothes might get ruined. Well, that is story time. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, like and subscribe. Have a great day. Alright, also to include in this, because this goes along with the root beer milk, only this was when I was a little bit younger. I was hanging out with my friends behind the high school. This was not during class times. This was after school, so it didn't matter quite as much. But I wasn't thinking, obviously. The way the school was set up is we had, behind the school, had the field, like the football field, soccer field, running, whatever. But we had a little bit of pavement, and then we had a slope. And we had about 10 feet of slope, and then the field started. So this entire slope was covered in kind of, grass, a little bit of dirt, whatever. We were sitting there, hanging out, and I realized at this point, and I'm in jeans, that the grass is a little bit wet. And I can slide on the grass. So I thought, so I sat on my butt and I slid down the little hill. And I thought, that's kind of fun. So I sat back down, slid down again. And one of my friends looks over and goes, you might not want to do that. And I said, why? It's a lot of fun. So I sat down and slid down again. Now, it was nowhere in my mind what was happening to my pants, mind you, because I'm sitting on my butt and I don't notice it. When I get up, my friends all start just laughing uncontrollably. And I said, what? And they went, look at your butt. I turned around. Well, I pivoted my body like this. And I'm looking, and the entire backside of my pants where I had been sitting is covered in green stains and brown stains because I just slid down grass and dirt. So my entire backside was completely covered in brown and green, which is a great, great combination of colors that you want on your butt. Embarrassed, I went, I didn't even think about that. Now, the school was nowhere near my house. So, we had to make the trek home. The problem was, during the walk home, because I couldn't do anything about it, I tried taking my mind off of it by, stories, telling jokes, talking to my friends. We did whatever because it didn't matter anymore. Problem was, they both ended up having to go home, and their houses were before mine. I kept walking, not remembering about my bum. And as I'm walking home, I thought, hey, there's a little teeny strip of stores. I'll just go to that strip of stores because I'm there every day. I'll go, talk to my friends over there too, the ones that are over there. Because I've forgotten. So I walk into this store, talking to the guy behind the counter for a little bit. And as I start walking back, I talk to a few other people. And the person behind the counter goes, hey. I said, yeah. And he goes, what did you do? I said, what do you mean? He goes, did you have an accident? And he said, your butt. And I went, oh no. And I'm just realizing, hey, wait, this comic store, it was a comic store. This comic store is filled with people. Not all of them that I know. And I am standing there with what is a massive stain on my butt. And I realized, oh, so I now have to turn around and try to nonchalantly get out of the store and try to make it home. I didn't forget again. So I am half jogging, half running home, hoping nobody cares. I get home, change my shorts. But it's never fun to walk around in public with brown and green on your bum. So, once again, never a bad thing to keep a spare set of clothing on you or think about where you're putting yourself and make sure.